Welcome to Module 4. So, in this section, I really want you to think about reviewing and adapting the current habits that you started to put in place. Bear in mind that change is hard. So there may be a couple of hurdles that you've stumbled along, or there might be a bit of challenge in trying to make these changes and change these habits. Completely normal. The most important habit that I need you to change and to try and stick to is daily planning. So we talked a lot about yourself and how to set yourself up and be aware of managing yourself. We talked a lot about the default diary and planning those tasks and what they look like. We talked about an app to wrap around you to make sure that you're utilizing technology to support you through this change. But it's really important that you spend time every single day, 10, 15, 20 minutes, planning the next day. We talked about the curveballs. We know they're going to come in. That's going to work for you because you've allocated time to it. But there might be other things that's happened or going to happen through this transition. And you have to be quite mindful and watch out for your stressors and your triggers. If you don't know them right now, I want you to start writing them down over the next few weeks as you make these change and you start to change these habits and integrate this structure around you from a time management perspective. And when you're writing them down, if you don't already know them, if you do, think about doing this as well. I want to know, how are you going to control them? Only you know what you need in those moments to help you get through them. So your stresses and your triggers, how are we going to control them? Is it because you need more curveball time? Are you in a role that is so reactive and your work changes on a daily basis that actually you need more curveball time than an hour to an hour and a half that we talked about? If so, review and adapt. It's absolutely fine. You are finding your way of making time management work for you. You have to stick to this structure though. We have to be planning. We have to be sticking to these to-do lists. So if it's not working, hit the pause button. Pause in the moment. Review what is going wrong. What does that look like? Is it because actually you're not holding yourself accountable? You're not giving yourself enough time to plan properly? And when those moments of them curveballs flying at you, is it because you're not taking the time to go, right, stop? What do I need in this moment to deal with those curveballs? If it is, start thinking about doing that. Hit the stop button. What do you need in this moment to deal with what's going on right now? This could be pressures that come in on certain days of the week. It could be a one-off that you've never had this much pressure in the day before. Hit the pause button, regroup. What do you need now to get you through that day? Reshuffle your to-do list, put some of it to tomorrow, and allow you the time to deal with the pressures of today. So think about what's going well. Write it down. When you're doing a review of your time management habits and what's changing and what's going really well, write it down so we can see how well it's going. What's going not so well? Now, there's a few reasons why it might not be going very well. Number one, unrealistic timescales. Now, we talked a lot about this in our earlier modules. You have to be realistic with your timescales. Don't set yourself up to fail. If that's what's happening, that's the reason why we need to review and adapt right now. You need more time in for those tasks. Those tasks that you thought might only take a few minutes, we need to put more time in there. Or clump some of them together. If they're admin tasks and you can get a chunk done in an hour, make sure you're chunking them together and allocate time for them. If there's too many curveballs, too much pressure coming in, put more time in for curveballs if that's what you need. If your role is so reactive, book more time in your diary, maybe an hour and a half in the morning, maybe an hour in the afternoon. Start having a look at what your day looks like and where the pressures come in and what time of day. And don't forget to align that with how well you work at certain times of the day as well. So coming back to module 1, when is your most productive time of the day? The other reason why it might not be going very well is you've stopped daily planning. Now that can happen from time to time, especially when we get overwhelmed. There's a lot of pressure going on, there's a lot of delivery. But when you stop planning, you do stop being so productive. So try and bring that habit back in immediately. So again, review and adapt. Hit the pause button. I need to plan tomorrow. When I don't plan, I know it doesn't work very well. And remember to be flexible. So we have a default diary, yes. We have a plan of what we're going to do on what day, but that is a perfect world. And we don't live in a perfect world. We need to be able to adapt and move around our to-do lists and reallocate time to do things, which again comes back to realistic timescales, giving yourself enough time to do things so that we can be flexible with that diary. And please don't forget to delegate. You're not supposed to do everything yourself. With the amount of workload that comes through on a daily basis, it's physically impossible in some days. So hit the pause button. What are you going to delegate? What is right to delegate at this moment in time? What is not playing to your strengths? So please hit the pause button on a few times a month and just go, right, review and adapt. What's working well? What's not working well? How am I going to handle it?